epic tale, a champion prevailed, defeated the villain, now pour him some ale. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to some more Wednesday Witcher here on Tales from the Grim. It is a fun time, everybody. If you were just hanging out a little bit earlier, you saw we have a new show, Capers Off-World, that is coming this Sunday. It'll be a lot of fun, but we are here now for Season 2, the premiere of Season 2 for the Witcher family of Wraiths. I am incredibly excited. This group is amazing. If you're joining us for the first time, know that we are setting our escapades here in the world of The Witcher on the continent, basically just weeks, maybe a month or two before the events of the video game Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. So if you're thinking about, Nilfgaard is getting ready to charge forward, head north in what would become the Third Northern War. But specifically, what's been going on in Season 1, I can boil it down to this. Everyone had a friend, an acquaintance, a lover named Ezekon of Kreve, a witcher from the School of the Griffin. All of our PCs learned of his passing. They all arrived together via edict from a letter received to farewell him with fire and send him on his way. Upon arrival, they all realized when they began to converse that there was something bigger afoot, something that tied each of them together through the fallen Ezekon of Kreve. They even met Ezekon's father by the name of Ezren of Rhilestilen. Ezren is fallen as of the events of our season finale. With the loss of someone so important, I wouldn't take anything away from our players. We are starting right where we ended. They disappeared from Hangsfor in the north, arrived outside of the vast city of Novigrad. It is there that they will talk. It is there that they will figure out what their new course of action is. Much like the video game that was previously mentioned, everyone has been assigned quests. And that is how they arrive at XP, IP here in our Tausorian Games Witcher system. Thank you very much, Grant, as we see some donations come in, which is a perfect segue, as always, provided by Grant, to let you all know that here's how you can interact with the show. If you would like to, you can retweet our going live tweet, and if I had that ready, that would be super. I will make sure I have that ready for you all in a second. But in addition to that, if you look down, you can see that there are some specific donations new to Season 2. If there is something that you would like to do, something that tickles your fancy as you peruse over some of our new offerings, you can change the entire course of this campaign. There are several narrative, global catastrophic events that you can drop in this campaign. The number one being Nilfgaard advances north. Completely changes the difficulty level of the campaign. It makes it a lot more difficult for the players. You can also help with How Do You Like That Silver, which gives everybody a +2 to their every skill roll that they have, every roll that they make for the duration of the session. And if you would like to join us, we have reopened our guest spots. We have 3 for this season. You can take your own trial of the grasses and join us for a solo flashback episode, and then you join us for at least one mission here, regular session. It is most likely going to be several, as everybody that has joined in, Matt is coming up next, is holding a very specific, very canon heavy aspect of our campaign, which I can't wait for. But with all that being said, and as the hype train hits 100, fantastic, everybody. And as we choo-choo on the hype train, I will tell you this. We know why we're here, to tell the story of The Witcher. How can we be here? We have some fantastic sponsors. We have Roll20, our virtual tabletop of choice. If you go right now to www.roll20.net/start/Tales from the Grim, you can start your very own free account. Right now is the perfect time to do so in the age of social distancing and sequestering and sheltering in place. It doesn't mean the stories have to end. In fact, the stories can flow. Kindness and telling of the tales will get us through this. In addition to Roll20, we have our people that are powering this system. Our Talsorian Games is also a sponsor and are giving away in each and every episode of The Witcher a copy of the PDF core rulebook. You may type right in chat right now !PDF, and you may enter to win a copy of the core rulebook. I've said it once, I'll keep saying it. It's a great read. Even if you have no intention of playing in an RPG, it's just fun. If you are a fan of The Witcher, it'll give you a lot of information, some things I didn't know. I'm not to saying that I'm the end-all be-all, but at the same time, I love to be surprised. It is a fantastic book from a fantastic company, but now it's time to turn to a fantastic group of players. And so, I'm not going to tell them that yet. Hold on one sec. Let me, boy, oh boy, is that just perfect? That's just something. That's so very perfect. A donation has just come in, everybody. One that makes your GM very happy. And I'd like to let you know too, for those of you that were here and heard our cover version of Toss a Coin, that was performed by my brother Glenn. Today is my brother's birthday. He is old. A full year older than me, and tomorrow is my birthday. So for April 15th and 16th, since we were very, very small, it has been a 2-day, 48-hour celebration spectacular. And so with that donation, I, for one, am so very happy. And so let us bring in the rest of our players. Hello, everybody, and welcome in, cast of Witcher Family of Wraiths. We've had some just super fun shit happening here, and I, for one, am just yes. And go around, please, and for all of us that are joining, those of you on YouTube who have picked up Season 2, Episode 1 to jump into, tell us who you'll be playing, who you are, and give us a brief rundown of what your character looks like. If your character just kicked open a door into an old Western saloon, and everybody stopped to gander at the new potential threat, what would they see? And so with that, I will start with Prax. Prax, my friend, what do we see, and how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. However, Ainfra is a little less than fine, as we left her last. She's about 5'7", 5'8", long, curly, dark hair, tanned, wearing a blue sheer chiffon kind of dress that kind of acts as both a cloak and a dress, with a thicker bodice with blue and gold embroidery, a large blue and white nautilus amulet at her throat. She has very practical yet impractical boots that look absolutely gorgeous as they're knee-high and black, but their heels are slightly odd in their height, but she seems, well, she usually would be walking in them quite comfortably. But right now she's upset and bleeding profusely from various locations. Her dress looks a little shite. In her right hand she carries, she's leaning heavily on a large wooden staff with a flowers of frost at the top that have kind of bowed outward. In her left hand she has another staff that she's kind of holding that seems to be loose in her hand. Looks of driftwood with a shimmering blue stone at the top. and she has just lost her shite, as it were, as she saw the image of Ezekon, her lover for the past 70 years, who is now dead, waltzing with her, or dancing across the decades. And they weren't where they were before, and she feels that they may have failed, and someone who was supposed to be here isn't. So she accidentally she gave in, and there was a tempest of frost and wind and snow that just enveloped her for the last minute and a half before she passed out on the fields in front of Nilfgaard.
That pretty much sums it up. Let's drop down the bill. Bill, same question. Who are you? Who are you playing? And when they kick open that saloon door, what do we see?
I'm Billy, or Bill of the Forest on the internets. I'm playing Whim of Gehaso, and you wouldn't notice so much as kicking of the saloon doors open as two saloon doors almost graze your face as they hit the opposite side of the room, and then you'll see a large person with dramatic lighting, physically resembling in the body of like the Undertaker. He's got long hair, a receding hairline. He used to have a long beard like mine own, but his brother, Eris, convinced him for the sake of disguise to shave it all off. So, like any large man who's just shaven his face kind of looks awkward. So his face area looks awkward, but given everything that has just happened in the last episode, he's processing everything internally. He's very, for the most part, silent individual, and doesn't spend a lot of time around others. So being a part of this family is something that has been a constant work for him to be able to digest and deal with on a regular basis. But with clenched fists and a furrowed brow, that's the filter that all of this light is going through. Really looking forward to everything that's coming up, especially now that's going to be a little more difficult. But again, this is a game that I love playing, so no matter what happens, this story is amazing, and I'm going to try the best to serve the Legion and serve the story as best I can.
Spoken, my friend, like a true storyteller. Let's drop down to another storyteller born. Lindy! Lindy, my friend, how are you? Who will you be playing? And when they kick open the saloon doors, who do we see?
Hi, yes, I'm Lindy. I'm doing Spiffy. I'm very happy to be playing this game with all y'all. And I will be playing Yannicka. She is an elf healer doctor class in the Witcher book. Don't call her a doctor. She wouldn't like that particularly much. If she was to burst open through a saloon door, I don't think it'd be bursting so much as annoyedly opening the door with her shoulder, because it's probably a gross door. She don't want to touch it with her hands. She's very slight, very petite, probably only about 5'3", maybe. Could be the shoes she's wearing though. Her hair is a big, frizzy, curly kind of mess with all sorts of feathers and beads kind of woven into it over the years. She looks to be very homey, handmade clothing of elvish make, and she has some armor that looks also a bit elven in nature. That's kind of hard to say. She also has about her several pouches and small bottles and vials that are very well secured so they don't clink around or anything. She moves fairly quietly. Some herbs here and there. Maybe she's an alchemist. Maybe she's a doctor. It's a bit hard to tell unless you know what you're looking for on first glance. And she kind of has a perpetual expression of just being done with just everything that's going on. Definitely not a face that sees a lot of smiling, or at least not anytime in the recent past, give or take 50 years. Um, yeah, that's her. She also looks like she's spent a lot of time in the woods and doesn't get out much, and doesn't make much eye contact with anyone unless they're looking at her, and then it's kind of just a scowl. Not very people person.
We can't hold that against anybody. So
No.
with that description, we jump over from elf to witcher. Josh, my friend, how are you? Who are you playing? And when they kick open the saloon door, what do we see?
In contrast to the bulk, the gravitas, the sheer indomitable size of his brother, Aris most likely wouldn't use the front door, and if he did, it'd probably make nothing more than a whisper as he enters anywhere for the first time. He is quiet, seemingly maybe mild-mannered, doesn't do a whole lot of talking to those he doesn't know, but he has short dark hair that is of a certain style. Nothing to draw the eye, no claw marks upon his face to denote that he has a particularly dangerous line of work. His eyes are the dead giveaway, but other than that, he could almost pass for an everyday individual. His build is not huge or intimidating. It doesn't draw the eye. His clothing is blacks, browns, maybe a faded green here and there that helps him blend easily into shadows and dark corners or into the forest just as easily. He currently is standing with a small bundle nearby of weaponry, but himself, he is armed with a pair of knives, which are still in his hands. They are vicious and definitely not cutlery. One of them glowing with runes down the edge of it. He is vacant and gaunt looking at this particular moment, and he is in a world of his own. He very much has just been through a whole lot of emotions and is now in a different place in a world of trouble. So at the moment, Aris looks very much like a man well out of his comfort zone. And that's him. He is not alone. He doesn't travel alone anywhere anymore. But the wraith-like being that he does travel with is currently hidden away beneath him. And yeah, that's Aris.
Just your everyday witcher with a wraith inside. Love it, my friend. As we go up to our final, last but certainly not least, member of the five, the Knight of Ezren. JF,
Yes.
who are you? Who are you playing? And when they kick open the saloon doors, who do we see?
I'm JF. I'm playing Dusa of Gamera, and when he kicks open the saloon doors, you'll see a towering, dark-skinned man, muscular with scruffy hair and dreadlocks, who wears a fur elk cloak. He's he's about 6'5", a bit taller than the greatsword he carries, just a bit taller than the greatsword he carries in his hand. He's dressed in hides and furs because he's taken on the life of a hunter. He's a retired witcher, returned to the witching world to avenge his friend. Returned to the witching world, sorry. And how that's worked out for him, well, his friend's ex-girlfriend got killed. His friend's father is missing, but he's determined to set things straight. He's a southern man from Gamera
a land known to breed mad dogs and sadists. He's retained some of that culture and applied it to his personality, but he has recently sworn to behave as a knight. And so that's a fine line to walk for Dusa of Gamera, and I'm curious to see what will come of it.
I, too, am curious. All of you are fantastic, and I believe the Legion thinks it as well. And that is why you have received the following. From Pope, Anfra has received Swallow. From Hawk, or from Grant, everybody has received Swallow. From Hawk, everyone has received Silver. But
Swallow, silver.
we have also had a season-long event triggered already, as a $75 donation has come in from Trem, who has signaled the Nilfgaardian advance. What that means is, as Nilfgaard advances, where they were, where I had them in my notes, jumps up a country. Which means the front line is much closer to the action. In fact, you would say you're behind the front line now.
Wow.
So with that being said, with Legion contributing their portions to the story, and with Steve just donating to have an additional "How do you like that silver" put in, you're all up to +4 right now, as the Legion grabs pens, affects the story in the way that only they can, and we will begin to tell our tale with Season 2 of Family of Wraiths. I have not much to say other than you were just dropped off here by the being known as Gontar O'Dim. When you look around, you realize you are just outside of the city, the vast, rolling metropolis of Novigrad. You see, too, that your horses are tied up beside the nearest tree. What belongings you had, I will leave to your imaginations. You may have everything that you had with you in Hingsfor. You can leave behind anything that you had. Your horses, though, whether that was particular bent of Gontar or not, they are here. So as you're standing here in the early morning of Novigrad, it's cool, it's crisp, there's a bit of a catch to your breath as it releases from your mouth and goes into the northern air. Colder than it maybe should be now that you've traveled a fair distance to the south, but everything seems chillier nowadays. The city is vast. For those of you that have been here before, it maintains its angles. It seems to be growing towards the heavens. It seems to be reaching like a many-fingered beast, one that does not make your medallions buzz, but it makes your minds buzz. You are here. The world is around you. What do you do?
Is O'Dim gone? Gontar O'Dim?
The last you saw of Gontar, he walked into Novigrad through the gates, and he was yelling out, "Fleck! Fleck!" as if looking for something.
Yeah, so Dusa is just going to go check to see if he can find him. That would be the...
Roll me an awareness for our first roll of Season 2. And this will be +4 because of the Legion.
Alright. Man, I'm not even in my character sheet. That is bad. But I'll leave it to somebody else at the moment. I need to get this. I was loading the VTT. I forgot to open it.
No worry. As soon as you pop it up, just go ahead and roll. Everybody else, what do you do?
As this is...
Oh, fine, Mr. Mute button. All right. So Yannicka kind of getting out of the stabby drown or bloodlust thing for a second that she was kind of in, noticing where we are and not seeing her sister anymore through a portal because we're in a different place. She had kind of gave out like a scream of anguish and fell to her knees because it's been a very long time since she's seen her sister, and so she's very shaken, and I think is just kind of doing a weird scream sob thing, and just I think she's even dropped her sword and is just kind of punching the ground out of realization and frustration.
As all of this is going on, I would like to very calmly take in my surroundings. Greg, just out of curiosity, are there any flags flying nearby by any chance?
An awareness check would help out with that.
Then an awareness check I shall provide you with.
What's everyone else doing? With the critical, yeah. We'll get to you in a second, bud.
I'm with a. He's going to assess his compatriots and see where they're at, how they're doing with this sudden shift in location.
Yeah, you would see, at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, but you see Anfra in a state of, well, for at the very least, what would probably be conveyed would be detachment. You would see Dusa kind of wandering towards the city a bit to get a better perspective. Your brother,
I'd say he's running towards those gates.
Okay.
Just yelling, hey! Hey! Like that.
So you would see Dusa running towards the gates of Novigrad. You would see your brother, who is casting an eye up towards that geometry, towards that skyline, that cityscape of Novigrad. And you would see your newest companion, the elf Yannicka, on the ground, punching the earth.
Yeah, Infra collapsed, so
Yeah.
that's where she is.
Wim would project his voice in the direction of Dusa. Hey, get back here!
So we'll just look at him. I mean, after looking to see if he sees a Gunter anywhere.
As you look back, just as you look back to say something to Wim, to kind of meet the gaze, to stop the yelling, you look back, and just as you look into the gates, the wide archway that represents the northern gate of Novigrad, you can see just for a second that carriage of Gaunter as he walks, and he seems to be aware for a moment of your yelling, turns and looks at you.
Yeah.
And he sees, and he points to himself, and he smiles and bows, and a carriage goes by, and he is gone.
Turn to Wim. Did you see him? Did you see that man?
I'm not concerned about him, I'm concerned about the crew. Get back here. Don't draw any attention to ourselves.
But that man, he's the one who
I
took
don't
it.
give a fuck about that man. Get back here. Help us tend to the wounded so we can get back on our feet. I'm not dishing out orders, just strong fucking suggestions.
And he'll look at the wounded, realizing that they're there. He was so caught up in that moment, and he'll rush over to Ifra, and try to bring out his numbing herbs and bandages, and try to see what he can do.
And Wim will move to Yannicka and squat to get down to her general level, and then like peer his head so he can kind of like make eye contact. Hey, are you all right?
there's just tears going through, probably a light layer of dirt at this point after what we just went through. And you definitely brought her out of that. Her knuckles are probably a bit bloodied at this point. She's sorry. Yes, they're wounded.
I don't know what you've seen, but I do know my friend needs help. Can you work?
Yes. Give me work.
This way. Do you need help? Can you walk?
Yes, I'm fine.
And then he's obviously going to see that she's having emotions and kind of let her go by her own accord.
Yeah. Basically, you handed her the shovel to bury them for now, so she's kind of grateful, but she just kind of moves over to Ainfra, pulls out her medical bag. If she sees Dusa's brought out some numbing herbs, she'll pull out clotting powder.
What do the wounds look like?
By this point, her glamour has fallen, so she looks fucked.
Okay.
Like
from a first aid perspective, though.
She's covered in wounds, some of them as old as before you met her, that she has been hiding behind her magic, which I can finally, Praxis hinted at it, a wound to the side, and then various other bits of damage that were sustained by the attacks from the drowners, scratches and rents upon gown and flesh. Where once the powerful mage was, still resides, but more mortal than perhaps a few moments ago.
Just do what needs to be done to start to keep her alive and defer to the expert.
Yannicka just gets to work. It's a good distraction from emotions.
As the four tend to one another, rush to aid, we cut over to the Witcher apart. Eris, as you look down at the free city of Novigrad, you've seen its standard before, the red field with the circle and the keys that kind of sprout from the ring. But you don't see them today. Instead, you see a black field with a sun, and it catches the wind and rides high above the geometry of the formerly free city of Novigrad.
Home sweet home.
He stares for a while, just looking. And he realizes he still has both his blades in his hand, so that simply won't do. His brother makes a point. There's no precedent for drawing attention here. We have to be careful. So he goes to put his blades away, but as he does so, there's just this slight rattle as he puts his main hand blade away, and it's just the blade rapidly hitting against the clasp. And he notices the sound and looks down and checks the motion, realizes his hand is shaking, and he just takes a moment to just check that. And his hand goes still, and he puts the blades in their place. And with no regard to anyone else, he will head over towards the horse with no name, and he notices that some of his effects are there, some aren't. What are we surrounded by at the moment?
You don't see the normal trade. Doesn't seem as if normally Novigrad is a city of arteries. It is a city that is either having commerce enter its gates or exit. It is buying, it is selling, it is trade incarnate. However, in this particular instance, by the northern gate, there doesn't seem to be any traffic that's going in or leaving. Yet the gate, as Gonta Rodim showed us, is open. But Eris, as you get close to the horse with no name and the other horses, you see that the tree that was chosen, perhaps specifically by Gonta Rodim, is covered with, for lack of a better word, playbills. But instead of a show or a magician or a mummer, it shows executions. Some very old, long past. But one right by where your horses are tied. It says that there will be an execution tomorrow morning. It's representing the last of the elves, the rebel known as Ezekon of Rhilestilen.
He pauses for a moment and reads that, and his eyes just linger on the last word written. And he looks about, and he doesn't know where Ezren is. And he knows something happened, but he has no clue as to what. But just reading that, he rereads it over and over again, and after a few moments, are there any eyes on us at the moment, or are we relatively, it's quiet at this point?
With your critical, I'll let you know this: no one seems to be observing you. There are, of course, figures and shapes inside the vast city, but nobody bearing particular interest towards your group. I will also tell you this, Josh, and it applies to everyone. You have all received a new quest. The elf that stood against the world.
He looks at that, and he looks around, and seeing no one else around, he takes his knife out. He lifts one arm high, takes the blade, presses it underneath his armpit, and runs it down the side of the Witcher of the School of the Dragon armor that he's currently wearing, slicing through each leather strap, just sundering it, tears it off, and just drops it down. And it's got chain in there and links, so it sort of clatters to the ground in a heap. And he drops his knife to the ground to sort of stick into the ground beside them, and he reaches over to his horse, and he will take the armor that he's far more accustomed to, and slides it over him, beginning to fasten it in place. It is leather and padded and very worn in, and has that smell of like a well-used jacket, a much beloved piece of clothing. And it's probably a little off-putting to anyone else, but it's comfortable, it's his, it's worn in all the right places. But as he goes to tuck it in and cover himself and affix everything, he takes a moment to appreciate how finely it is made, and the slight leaf-like design of each different pad. And he will take maybe 10 minutes to do all of this while everyone else is doing their thing, and that's just him over there quiet.
I will ask the rest of the group, and I will ask Lindy this: just make me a healing hands roll.
Sure.
That's the only mechanics that I will ask, and then go from there. We have had the Legion already contribute hit points, so everybody has at least 5 that have come in from the Swallow. Prax has 10. And so that, in addition to whatever happens here, is a part of your story to take and tell. So I will go back.
Seeing to the degree of which Ainfra is injured, she will use numbing herbs, clotting powder, and sterilizing fluid, just because this seems to be a bit of an extreme case, and she has the supplies. and she gets to work. She works quickly and efficiently.
She does indeed, with a 28, which is fantastic.
Seeing that Einfor is in good hands, so we'll step back and look at Wim.
She probably shoos you away a little bit too.
Yeah.
I got this, go.
Yeah, feeling that. We'll just, step back.
The way... Oh, go ahead.
Who was that man? I've seen him before.
Which man?
The old one. The one who went with Ezren.
I didn't see nothing.
Wipe his hand over his eyes. Did anybody see him?
Is he there now?
No, he disappeared.
Then it doesn't fucking matter.
He's the one who took it. I think Ezren made a deal with him.
He's done a lot of things, but Ezren's not here. So we need to change the way we've been doing things. What we've been
I'm out for that.
is one dragon with 5 heads. Yeah, 6 for a little while, back down to 5. That cannot be. We need order. I'm as much a fan as operating solo as anyone else here. Not dependent on anyone else. But that's got to change. We need order. We need some sort of natural law. Otherwise, we're running off for this, we're running off for that. We get cornered, we die. Especially in Novigrad.
We need to get out of here. We can't stay here. And Ainfor just kind of like reaches a hand out to whoever's closest to her. I think maybe Yannicka did kind of like, and she like kind of puts the half hand up and uses the staff to kind of stand herself.
No, I'm not done yet.
We'll stay till she's done. Once you're safe to move, and we'll move.
How's it going, everyone? This is Zach.
Buy time in the mean. Witches, can I talk to you over here?
Yeah.
Get us out of here.
You can get us out of here in 10 more minutes.
And she just kind of lets you push her back down.
Oh yeah, she wouldn't even let you rise. If you had done that, she would have swept like your elbow out. Like just, nope.
She's like, she won't let go of the staff. That's one thing.
Yeah, your hand's not wounded. She doesn't care. If your hand was hurt, you'd have to let it go, but your hand's fine, so.
He'll kind of stand 15 feet off and wait for Aris.
So we'll step over.
Aris will take a moment to cut down that particular missive and walk over.
What's that, Aris? What you got there?
He unfurls it, kind of shoves it towards Wim. But as he does so, he will put his hand over the text for a moment and just take his hand, and he just nods his head towards the city where the flags are hanging.
Home sweet home.
No place like it.
Tell me, did you see him, Iris? Did you see that man?
Man?
The old man? Chasing the dog?
What old man?
Okay, where's Ezren then?
Your guess is as good as mine.
How did we end up here?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I figured
I'm going
that's a
off what I
question we-
know.
I guess that's a question we have for the sorceress when she's not bleeding to death.
Well,
And
we've
if we
got this
stay
time.
here much longer, it's likely that she's going to be bleeding to death again.
Well, we got this time. We can take a moment to prepare. Do you have an empty bottle? One suited for oils.
Yes, I do. Draw
Oris,
one out of his pack.
Yeah.
I don't have much, but it's best we share this in the event we get separated. And he takes out a bottle, pops off the cork, and puts Hangman's venom, an appropriate amount, in Dusa and Aris's oil bottles.
Man's venom. Forgot what this does.
Coat your blade with it, and the humans and non-humans will be sure to suffer. But only use that when you need to. We're not in a point to be causing violence for no reason. If we can talk, we talk. Now, odds are, in this city, they'll be looking for Oris and I just as much as any sort of mass murderer. Even more so because we've been dubbed Kingslayers.
The city being Novigrad? Is this Novigrad?
From what I remember.
Alright. Well, it's a good thing the Empire's here because I used to be an outlaw in Redonia.
Good for you. What for?
Got in a fight.
One?
Yeah. Some Kingsmen.
As much as I might be breaking straws here, you might not have so much trouble with a title like that stapled to your head. I really doubt they care about Northern Kings dying. That being said, I have some serious issues with Novigrad and Nilfgaard as a whole at the moment.
Well, if we're going to operate as one unit, I feel it's best you inform the group so we know where to stray away from and where potentially to find her in case you go missing.
If I go missing, you won't find me.
Bet.
Any wager you want to make. The price on my head, it ain't the kind of price you deliver kicking and screaming. It's the kind that they find the nearest tree. And then, well, it won't be so much Hangman's venom, but a very venomous hanged man.
If we're going into Novigrad, we best have a tactic. Keep you under wraps. A story we're all on the same page of.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Not much I can do about this.
Oh, well. There's a couple of things I can do about it if you'll let me.
If it comes to that, sure. I don't think you quite understand what's after me. It's not a case of some pissed off prince of some principality somewhere who's got an axe to grind against me. It's not some two-bit noble who I slighted once in a bar, not knowing the man. I am hunted by Emir himself, whatever that pretentious fucking title he uses is, dancing on the fucking graves of his enemies.
Well, it's best you form the group as to the specifics.
Yeah, well, at least if you can't pay the bar tab one night, you know you've got something in your back pocket for cashing in a huge fucking reward, eh?
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I'm not gonna turn you in for a fucking bar tab, man. Come the fuck on.
I don't know, I've seen your bar tabs. Look, we are up shit creek. And, well, we don't even have a boat, let alone the paddle. So right now, I suggest we get the fuck out of the open here and away from the giant fucking tree where they're posting death writs for elves. And he taps aggressively on the piece of paper you're holding, letting you read it at last, and hooks a thumb in the direction of the hopefully distracted good doctor.
I'll take a look at. Lean over and look at that writ.
It does, in fact, say calling for the execution of an elven rebel, the last of the elven rebels. It proclaims a Khaled of Rhilestilen.
That's Ezren's name.
And it's an elf. Perhaps Yannicka will know of her. If she had anything to do with the rebellion.
We really need to bring this up. You seen the state of her?
We've seen the state of everyone.
Exactly. So how about we get somewhere that isn't here where we can lay low? The sorceress can finally rest, and I mean actually rest, not the bullshit she's been feeding us, and then maybe we break this to Yannicka and figure out where the fuck we go from here. Because right now, I'm sick and tired of fighting on one hobbled leg.
Well then, big boy, why don't you ask Yannicka if she's done yet?
So he will break away from the group, walk on over to quietly watch her handiwork, giving her some distance, and if possible, I would be as discreet as possible. I'll even roll a stealth for it if need be, but I don't want to interrupt her. I just want to see how good she is. In a general observation.
I'll let you can role play that out. You can roll a stealth just to see, and if Yannicka is focusing on anything other than the patient at hand, she can roll an awareness. We'll go from there, but otherwise you can just RP it.
Let's see.
And so this is a rebel wanted by the Empire. And he'll look at the other elves. I thought the elves were on the side of the Empire. I don't know where Ezren is, but I have his sword.
Best hold on to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm also gonna hold on to that dream he had.
Which one?
I'll show you this sword. Ezren had this kind of idea that things could go back to the way they were. That elves and humans could coexist.
Some humans and some elves can coexist.
He wanted to make it possible for everyone.
There's some stupid you just can't fix.
Well, maybe not somebody like you or I, people who live by the sword, but people like Ezren can change things.
People like Ezren could. But we don't have an Ezren.
We don't have an Ezren, but we have his sword.
Is this sword gonna talk? Is this sword gonna do the talking to all the fine noble lords and ladies in this fucking land?
I know how to make a sword talk.
Oh, please. Put on a show.
I'm just trying to think of what he would have wanted. I think he made a deal with that man to save us. I feel like I owe him something.
And you'll be thinking that the rest of your life. Focus on now. We've got to take care of us.
Fair enough.
He'll look over to Yannicka. How's it looking over there?
Just about finished. You're a mess. Did no one treat your wounds?
It's been a light, stressful. I was getting shot at, and then beaten, and then shot at, and then eaten. And, keeping witchers alive is a bit stressful.
Yeah, they're durable.
Right. And she kind of starts to stand up, has her hand.
Yeah. Yannicka doesn't stop you this time. She has completed her work for the time being, as much as she could.
Well, I don't like Novigrad. Under Radovid. I really hate Novigrad if it belongs to Nilfgaard. I think we don't belong here any longer than we have to be.
And that's when Yannicka notices that Nilfgaard's here. Isn't happy.
Yeah, that's a mite upsetting. I spent a lot of time making sure they didn't cross a goddamn river. Fuck.
That explains a lot more why they left.
Well, sorry. She's got one hand with Frostfang and the other with the, crystal staff.
Yeah, the numbing herbs with the clotting powder, you might feel a little lightheaded, but you'll be fine.
It's fine. I've done this before, under a lot worse circumstances. Do you mind if we go to my house? I think that might be our safest location at this point.
Aris just clears his throat from some quite
And
nearby.
Eris would have noticed that Yannicka is very good at what she does. Almost like she's not even thinking about it, just practiced motions, very efficient.
I reckon she's alright. Yeah, she's okay.
You're actually very good at that. It's been a very, very long time since I've
Well,
been
I've
someone
been
that good.
doing it for about 200 years, so, get a bit of practice.
If you want to make it to 201 years, I suggest we don't hang around here. Are you okay to walk?
Yes. Eris, would you be so kind as to get them over here? Because I'm going to open this portal here and not waste time walking around.
Just stay there a second. And we'll actually turn and go get the horses first. And he takes the horse. And how many horses do we have between us? I genuinely am struggling to remember. I think Wim's got a horse and...
I got one.
You have 5. Yannicka did not have a horse, but you do have Ezrin's, formerly Ezekon's horse.
I walk over to them and I purposely ignore the horse with no name because he's an arse. And I go over to Ezekon's horse and just... It's been a while and I haven't had a moment kind of alone, which might seem strange, but he hasn't had a moment to really catch up. And he just musses his face against it and just gives it a pat on the flank and takes a moment to compose himself, and we'll gather up the horses and try and lead them as a group over. And as he does, hopefully we'll get the attention of the other 2 witches as he brings everything together.
I'll help him out.
And then as Dusa walks by, he wants to, with physically try to take the writ. Be like, hey, can I get this?
You want to take the writ?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And he'll take the writ and go over to Yannicka. You know this one?
Do I, Greg?
You would recognize the name.
Recognize the name?
Does it mean anything to you?
You don't need to roll history because of your past.
Because of my history?
Right. This Khaled is and has been for a very long time a proponent of both human-elven relations initially, and then a savage rebel, at least as far as the stories that have been told about him. Raiding from the Blue Mountains, murdering and burning human settlements from the valley that was once the home of the elves. Seems his riding days are over, if this writ is to be believed.
From what I hear, he's kind of badass.
Could we
He's done a lot
him?
of... For what?
For
Killing
us?
humans? Yeah, he likes that a lot.
In the same place as Ezren.
Same place.
Rhilestilen.
He's he used to be a big proponent of human-elf cohabitation. Then he turned rebel when that wasn't going to work.
Any idea how old he is?
Decently experienced.
Old as you? Older?
At least 4 centuries.
No, probably twice my age.
So,
We,
I propose supporting the gentleman, but not from here.
how do you go about doing that?
Well, first of all, they're not. Correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but this doesn't say that the execution is today, it's tomorrow.
It does say tomorrow at dawn. You are, if dawn is 6:30 in the morning, you are right now around 8:15, 8:30. So you have
Okay.
almost 24 hours before,
Okay.
if this is to be believed, and they're punctual. Apparently Nilfgaard is very punctual.
That doesn't surprise me.
They're not going to kill him yet. And there's a lot I can do with 12 hours. A shit ton I can do with 12 hours. You'd be surprised at how easy it is to break into a Nilfgaard prison.
Wait, why do we want to help this guy out?
He's
I
got
mean, I'm
four-
all for helping elves in general and pissing off Nilfgaard.
He's got 400 years experience and is from Rhilestilen, which is where Ezren's from. He can help us find him.
I think Ezren did something very stupid. But,
Is that the human?
yeah.
Okay.
Also, I don't recommend waiting to the last minute as he's getting executed in public display, coming in and riding out on some sort of dawn-glazed pony and leaping in and slaying some motherfuckers and getting out. That ain't gonna work with Neil.
No. If I do it right, I can spy on him and find out exactly where he is, and then open a portal directly to his cell and let Eris in there. But I need like 6 hours to sleep.
Yeah,
What
you
do
need
you
to
need?
rest.
What do you need from us to get from him in order to make that happen?
Absolutely nothing. I've got 24 hours. Like, let's go to my house where we have food and water.
How about we stop
And
talking about
beds.
it and do it
Good.
with your permission, Aethra?
Thank you. You'll like
Jimmy.
this. Wim, Sedaris is wonderful this time of year. And I will open a portal to the house she has in Sedaris, in the city of Sedaris. Preferably the back alleyway so I don't bring horses through the house.
Oh, how
Sure.
of course.
And as the portal opens, it's a little warmer, but there's more of a breeze, more of an ocean current to the west. But that's all I know about this place. Prax?
It's inside town, in the city itself, closer to the palace. Not in the highest levels of society, but suitably nice. It's older house, stone, 2 stories, simple. There's a first floor that's one main, 3 rooms really, 1 small kitchen, a main kind of common room, and a private office that's closed, and anyone seeing would see that the door has been closed a very long time, and that not that it's locked, but it's just been closed for a very long time. There's 4 rooms upstairs, 3 rooms upstairs, 1 large room that's Ainfra's, and there are 2 other bedrooms. Yannicka would notice right away that there are a number of surgeon's tools on like bookshelves that are clean but haven't been touched. They're old. They're very old and haven't been used in a while. And it's a little musty because she hasn't been here, but it's clean. And she would say, apologize, as she kind of stumbles through the portal and lets it close because, fuck, she's tired. And say, the lady, if you knock next door, the lady, older human woman, pleasant individual, she kind of cleans the place when I'm not here. Don't freak her out too badly, and don't get arrested for anything that I would have to go cash in favors for involving sex, drugs, or alcohol.
Of which, where's the bar? The bar.
The bar? Oh. And she kind of points to like a sideboard that's under on one wall in the main room next to a table and a couple chairs. It's simple and homely and nice, and that should have about a decent supply of alcohol for your preferences. I can't guarantee that it's, the highest quality, but it's very nice and decent, and well, I can't say that it'll fit Dusa real well, but Ezekon left some clothes here last time he was here, and I have some others that might fit Harris or Wim. But have free house, enjoy. I sleep now.
Where are you going to be sleeping?
With me, and she'll lead you up to her room, which is the larger front room of the house.
And I would like to set up her room, sterilize it, clean it real good, set up as a healing tent.
Wow.
So that it's more conducive for rest.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
So I'll make that roll. Yeah.
Takes you an hour.
Yeah.
And this can be done while she's resting.
Yeah. I do the bed first. I'm like, okay, now sleep.
Yeah. I'm gonna wake me up in 6 hours. I'll do the scrying in 6 hours.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Dusa, feeling like he's losing his wits, he's gonna just go for the bar and grab a bottle and sit down and try to figure out what's real and what's not.
And as she's like going to bed, she'd turn to Yannicka and say, tell the gentlemen there are clothes in the wardrobes in the other rooms.
Okay, just stop talking, go to sleep.
Sleep.
Shh. I think Yannicka kind of like reaches over for a pillow for a second. It's like, okay, she stopped talking. And then just goes back to continuing the healing tent room preparations.
As this is going on, I'm going to ask a question of Prax while Ainfra is sleeping. Is this one of those kind of like upper rooms that has like the double doors that open out into like a balcony on the second floor?
Yeah, in her rooms, yes.
Okay.
The other two rooms are a little bit more simple.
Okay. Well, let's hold with that for a second, and I have a position on Dusa, grabbing a bottle, figuring out what's real. That's a
He's
bumper
gonna-
sticker.
Yes, he's gonna sit by the fireplace and just nurse that bottle. Just a question though, Witchers, does alcohol affect them?
It takes a shit ton to get there, but it
Okay.
can.
They
Right.
get
Kind of wears
drunk-
off faster, but
Yeah,
yes.
they get drunker faster. Well, it takes them longer to get drunk, but when they get drunk, they get drunk. And then on top of that, like there's no hangover. Like it's a really
Okay.
fast. It's because their metabolism is super quick,
I got it. Yeah.
and
Alright.
also because their heart rate pumps slower, so the blood gets into their blood slower. So
Okay. So it's a good thing you took the bottle. All right.
you go from like mildly buzzed to shit faced to completely fine very quickly.
Very quickly. No hangover. Nice. All right.
So, with the bottle in hand and a philosophy class going on in Deuce's head, Eris and Wim, what are you doing?
Question for Ainfra: do you have a garden?
Yes.
Okay.
Bathroom, yes. There's one.
Can you describe it? Because I'm going to be out there.
I can describe your. It's on the second floor. It's a small room. But it's tiled, and you would notice that this roof of this room is like old brown stone tiles and a slightly sunken tub of larger size, and kind of like a fireplace and
I
sauna.
said garden.
Garden, I can't hear you.
Oh,
Sorry.
Oh, right. Sorry. Like
I don't know. I said bathroom and you said yes.
Oh, I thought you said garden back to me. Like, garden?
I was like,
Nice
sure.
bathroom, though.
This is a twofer.
Why do you
I will
have a
take
fireplace
additional
in your
description.
garden? Why
That's
is
where
there
she keeps
like
the plants.
Why is it tiled? That's not a garden.
That
That's,
sounds weird.
Have you
Something
never
rich
been? Have you
people
never
do.
seen like an Italian Renaissance garden? Yes,
No.
a fireplace and a nice piazza and a palazzo. That would make.
Bathroom?
But no, yes, there is a garden, but it's not very large, and it's kind of. Her house is in town, and it's in like just off the main square. So
does it have a wall around it?
yeah, it's a small wall, and you would see that the garden is kept, but it's not like it's mostly herbs and medicinal plants, but it's a little overgrown.
In which case, Aris takes a few moments to walk about the place. He is going to do a double check to see if anyone's here. Because Ainfra has said that she isn't here very often, and he's a paranoid man, so I would give the place a once over, and then I would like to head out to the garden very quietly.
Okay. Wim?
So the room that we all got, that everyone started in before they went their separate ways, he's just going to stay in and have internal conversations with the ghosts of the folks that were there.
While he's outside, Aris will go over to find, realizing very quickly that it's mostly medicinal herbs. He'll find the herb that could be the most lethal, to his knowledge. The one that is like the one you have to treat most carefully, as close to poison as he can find, essentially. And he will go over.
There's probably foxglove in the garden.
He will go and sit cross-legged in front of some foxglove, and now he's actually got a little time alone. He'll reach into his pocket and dig out the medallion that he took off the witcher he killed, which is a small serpentine woven silver very old, battered, on a chain, among others, and he will separate that specific medallion and, muttering a quiet apology to Ainfrey, he'll take his knife out and he'll begin to essentially dig with the flat of his blade into the ground. And he'll bury this medallion about a foot deep, taking his time, getting plenty of dirt under his nails, probably tearing his nails slightly as he sort of like will have to scrape away. And when he's done, he gathers it up, he will take it, and then he will reach deep into his bag and find it would look similar to a witch's vial that he would keep oil or a potion in, but it's much smaller. And inside, the liquid is like a milky, clearish kind of color with like swirls in it. And it's a tiny vial. It's like the size of like a you could possibly have like a few drops of something in there. It's tiny, and he takes it out. He will dab a tiny bit onto his hand, just enough for it to sort of sear and cause the skin to sort of hiss angrily, and just drink that tiny bit of venom, place it back into his pocket, and he will quietly sit and remember the man that medallion belonged to. And it's a very quiet thing. It's not spoken aloud. It's not for anyone else. It's just for him. And he probably spends a good while out there.
So with everybody placed with bottles and rituals and ghosts, or with just much needed slumber, we cut back up to the quickly shaping up tent that is the bedroom of the mage Anfra. Yannicka, when you get to the main doors there that kind of open into the balcony that looks out over this particular section of the town, it's at that moment as you look up, you see the large parapets of the nearby. This is the castle. It's a central seat of power. But as this particular region has been run by Duke Aglabal for quite some time, he resides instead at Bremervord, which is directly on the coast, just half a day's ride from here. But inside the capital city, this is going on in this seat of power. Your eyes look up and you see that hanging from a high parapet is the white field and blue sturgeon, and blue field and white sturgeon of Sidaris. And just below it is the black field and yellow sun of Nilfgaard. But that is where we will take our break. Everybody, hydrate yourselves, get up, stretch around, do some deep knee bends, grab a snack. We shall return very quickly to continue this lovely tale that you are helping us tell and that these fantastic players are weaving. We'll be back soon, everyone. Thank you so much. Welcome back, everybody, to Witcher Family of Wraiths. We are resting now in the home of our mage Ainfra, as everyone is kind of split off onto their own to kind of collect themselves after the loss of one of their members, and like a compass too close to a magnet, a heading is hard to find. But here we are. What do you do?
I go downstairs, having made a nice little first aid room, put the mage to bed, and I imagine the first person I'd stumble on is Dusa drinking by the fire.
Yeah.
Just
Visibly unaffected by what he's drinking so far.
yeah. And she just shake her head and look at you. Again, with the leg? Really?
Yeah.
She'll just fix it.
I have time to put on the armor. Thank you.
Alright, try not to fuck it up this time. She gives it a nice pat, like...
Yeah. Okay, I'll put some armor on it, don't worry.
Yeah, that might be a good idea to not get hurt. And then she'll look for the really big, beefy one. He was bleeding before we fought drowners, so he might be bleeding after. She'll look for Wim. She definitely doesn't know all your names yet.
Big beefy one.
Yeah.
I think I saw him over there.
Okay.
And you encounter him, and he's kind of like sitting on a stool with his with his hands planted on his knees, and his eyes are closed. So it looks like from a distance he's sleeping on the stool, but you don't know if he's running something over in his head or if he's actually sleeping.
Okay, well, I stand out of sword stabby distance because it's not good to startle a witcher. She'll just be like, hey.
Wim, as you are sitting there in this fugue state, sitting on your stool with Yannicka just outside of stabby distance, as far as your surroundings are concerned, because of what you had elected to do, kind of hunker down with ghosts, roll me an awareness check, please.
Oh.
As you're sitting there, Wim, you can remember your more recent and your 5 year ago experience in the forest of the Blue Mountains, where you met the elven archer Brilar. And you remember a conversation that you had just recently where you asked how the wolves were, and she smiled and said that they were fine. This instance, this moment is replaying. The wind feels right as you're sitting there kind of taking in the dream-like landscape of the Blue Mountain Forest. But when you ask how are the wolves, instead of that smile and that answer that was kind of a surprise at your question, the same mannerisms, the same nod, but this time Brilar's mouth is saying something different. The words that you hear are the same as the conversation you had, but her lips are producing different movements, but you just can't figure. It's right at the edge of your comprehension. You might almost say the DC was 25.
Fuck!
And then you hear Yannicka.
Hey.
It's like he starts like he was in a reverie of some sort.
Sleeping like that's bad for your back.
A lot of things bad for me back. Jumping off of rooftops on top of other humans is bad for me back.
That was actually kind of impressive, though.
Well, let this be just as impressive, just way more subtle.
Right. Where are you bleeding? She starts pulling out stuff.
Fuck if I know. Underneath this armor somewhere.
Take it off.
I can't reach.
Really? How do you get it? Never mind. Like, she's not used to heavy armor like that. So she's like, why do you wear armor you can't take on and off yourself? But whatever. And she'll just assist. Okay, this thing. All right. Peel him out of his shell. And then any wounds she finds, she's gonna put some good herbs on them. Help the healing process.
Again, the top of her game as Yannicka performs masterfully at the art of healing. And just as a sensorial asterisk, a sensorial flashback, something I had in my notes that I just realized was, of the Witchers, it is spoken of as canon that Wim does not smell good. We've Eris has established that. Also, Eris has just taken a long slide through shit, which was pretty recent. In fact, you might say merely a couple hours ago this occurred. Dusa was in combat, but of all of them, I would say Dusa's probably the best, because at the very least, Dusa has experienced several stages of medicinal treating and cleaning. So even with Dr. Simon in Hangs 4, and then with Yannicka twice now. So I don't know. I had, wow, big marble bath. And then I looked at my notes and it's stinky Witchers. And I just thought I'd say that as we go back to the crew. It's a hallmark of Witcher, of course.
Also,
At least,
to be fair, he just got his chest plate serviced. So at least the center piece of armor doesn't smell as bad.
and Eris did go diving into the river to kill
I reek of beggar ticket, if anything.
wet beggar tick, which I don't know if is any better.
Wet
With a
shit
hint-
and beggar tick.
with
It's
a hint
the
of
new
Drowner.
clone. With just the essence of Drowner.
That's going to be one of our quests. Wet shit and beggar tick. Sorry. I'll surprise you with it later. Wait.
DK Redania.
And so she'll just note the general state of your hygiene as she's tending to your wounds. Probably just stitches for you, because I don't think you've taken as many damage.
Are you noting it out loud?
I don't think she is yet, but you're getting a look.
At my back, I can't see your.
Okay. Yeah, she'll check it. Anything else other than that gash?
Right is rain.
Okay, well, while you're unarmored, there's like a bath upstairs. You should probably make use of it.
Boy.
Keep the wound clean. If you get any more, they won't instantly get infected.
You can't do that with one of your little herbs.
I'm a healer, I'm not magic.
Alright. Jeez, you could just say I stink.
I mean, I've smelled worse, but we've got wet shit and beggar tick outside, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, where's the best?
It's upstairs. First door on the right. If you wake her up, I'm gonna stab you, so just be quiet.
As quiet as I can be. Thanks.
She looks like she might say something else, and then she just goes outside.
I also want it noted that there is nothing that smells like lavender or gooseberry anywhere in this frickin' house. Period. Full stop.
What about lilac, though?
Or lilac. Lavender, lilac, gooseberries, none of it.
It's all cinnamon and
Vanilla. Yeah.
Vanilla,
Cinnamon vanilla
yeah.
everywhere.
Live, laugh, love.
Right. Live, bath, love. Right now, I'm sorry.
Live, laugh, love, Lindy.
what? And then she'll go to good old shit and beggar tick with essence of drowner outside. Are you being weird Witcher stuff too? Are you still like meditating in front of some herbs?
I'm sat next to a small cluster of foxglove where the earth has been dug up, with my knife stuck in the ground, just silent, just sat there.
Again, out of stabby distance because she don't want to startle you. She's not trying to be quiet though. Hey.
Hey.
You bleeding?
Nope.
I look at like don't lie about your injuries.
Oh. But,
So if I check, I'm not gonna find anything?
oh, you'll find plenty. But I'm not bleeding.
Alright, well then what's wrong with you?
He stands, leaves the knife sort of in place, and he takes like the shawl that he wraps around him off, and looks down, and the armor is like it's pretty worn and rugged, and it's got a few nicks over the ears where the outer padding has been like torn or repaired and patched and stuff like that, and there's a few broken links in it, but more recently and not stitched up, and telltale soaked dark brown from his own blood. There is a wound to his lower chest, lower ribs, where he was hit pretty hard, and he says, I got tagged pretty hard down there.
You know, a bruise is just internal bleeding, right? Like, it counts.
It was a while back, so it's healed, but not entirely right.
It's purple, it's not... just pulls out, grumbles, pulls out some stuff.
He begins sort of unfastening the armor and is out of it pretty quick.
I don't think she notices till you, like, set it down. She's like, some nice armor you have there. Who gave it to you?
No one gave it to me.
Did you steal it?
Nope. She was already dead. I didn't kill her, if that's what you're about to ask.
How'd you know? I just, like, I poke a little harder, whatever I'm doing.
You just, like, put a little pressure on, like, clearly bruised areas. Yeah.
Let's just assume that everything goes great when Yannicka tries to heal you. I'll let you know if it doesn't.
Okay.
Because I saw her die.
Who killed her?
Adwenian army.
Fuckers. She square tail or just a local?
She was Squirtail. She retired though.
You say you never really retire, but I don't quite believe that.
Well, I suppose you got plenty of time to choose your retirement plan. But she given all that up. Just people don't leave well enough alone.
No, they don't. Puts a poultice on there, tightens it a little bit. Did you know her well?
Known her about 2 days, and I was unconscious for one of them.
She the one who beat you up?
No, she saved my life.
Yeah.
She pulled a wyvern stinger out of my arm. And he will lift up sort of the undershirt, and there is a swirled tattoo on his chest, sort of between his shoulder and his pectoral, which is like a snake curling in on itself endlessly, but it covers gnarled skin. There is tattoos all over him that quite clearly covered skin that hasn't healed quite right. Mostly of sort of serpentine nature, but that one he taps fondly. I was skewered like I was the night's menu, and then, well, I got lucky. And she was in the process of patching me up when they came.
She'll kind of look at the stain, kind of seeing the size of it, how bad it was.
Turn around and show you, like, clean through and through, like it's come out the other side.
She'll kind of look at it and go, well, guess if she went through all that effort, she wouldn't have hated you having it.
Perhaps. But she's dead and I'm here, so it's hardly exactly a fair argument to be having over what she'd want.
It's good to at least remember the dead.
Yeah, they don't have much else other than us remembering them.
Yeah.
What about
You have good eyes, right? You're always looking around, at least. If that means you have bad eyes.
Well, I'm still alive, so clearly I've seen enough coming.
Right.
Why?
Did you see an elf through that portal back there?
Greg? An elf?
Yeah.
A living elf?
Yeah. Well, yes. We'll say yes. We'll go with yes.
I would like to roll a human empathy.
A human perception?
Yeah, the thing.
Yep.
I don't know. I never learned what the skill was called, Greg, because I suck at it.
You may absolutely roll it.
Same.
Human perception.
Yes, it is under empathy though.
It
Oh,
is.
yes,
It is.
yes.
By the way, I just want to point out, it says human perception. I'd like to see where it says elven or dwarven perception.
Thank you.
Just-
Thank you.
There we go. Okay. +4.
Living being perception.
Yeah. Holy shit. That is a
You got
9 on.
You rolled a 9.
I suck so hard at reading people. Yeah.
You don't get and glean any additional information from Yannicka as she's talking. It's difficult to figure out what she's doing, but you do hear a whisper, and when the exchange is made, a living elf, and Yannicka pauses for a moment and says yes, you would hear in your mind, "Aren't we all alive?"
Oh, shit. This elf you were looking for, they wouldn't happen to be dead, would they?
Technically speaking, yeah.
They're not passed on.
Well, looked like she was alive.
It's the,
Don't worry about it. It's probably just seeing things.
were they someone important to you?
Yeah, my sister.
Oh, fuck. Well, yeah, there's a chance you saw him. Look, I'm not good at this stuff, alright? So, thanks for the gestures to the...
Yeah, she like ties off the poultice.
Yeah. look, I don't mean to, dredge this up. You just done me a service. Doesn't feel right laying it on you, but you feel right to know that that place we saw tends to draw in the dead and keep them there.
Great. Fantastic. This day's just getting better and better.
Yeah. Well, look, it's... I feel like I owe you something better than that for patching me up, but it's the truth.
Keep that in mind. Well, I'm gonna go try to get some rest as well. Don't wake the sorceress. And you should also probably use the bath when Wim's done with it. Or she wouldn't say Wim. She doesn't know y'all's names yet. She'd just say when the large
that
one.
That takes me back. Before you do vanish, we're not exactly the most functional of groups. There's not much holding us together at the moment. Literally, and...
Yeah, no, you're all a mess. Like, physically, you guys are all wrecked.
But
Do you not take care of yourselves? No, you're three witches and a sorceress, of course you don't.
Yeah, look, the point I'm trying to make here is that it doesn't get much better than this, traveling with us, alright?
Yeah, well, I've seen a lot, so... Takes a lot to surprise me.
I look forward to it.
I go inside and find a place to curl up for a little bit, get a cat nap. It's a long night, chucking beggar ticket, drowners,
You find a place. Bit of sun. Do some. Your bottle is empty.
Yeah?
Have you reached any conclusions?
Oh boy, at this point, yeah, he has reached some conclusions. He's reached the bottom of the bottle. He's gonna get up and he's gonna head over to, so he's in this common room. I guess he's alone there. Is that it?
We'll say that you are, yeah.
Yeah. He will seek out. He doesn't want to be alone at this point. He's kind of woozy and everything, and he feels like he's drunken enough to have a little talk with someone, even if it's a horse or whatever. He will take a look around and head for Wim. See if he can find Wim stumbling around. If he sees somebody else, he'll get to that person first.
You would not be able to find Wim, but the door to Ainfra's room is closed.
Oh, Ainfra? No, he's not going to bother Ainfra. Yeah, he'll go downstairs, see if there's anybody else, and he'll take that sword with him, Ezren's sword. And if he does not see anybody else, he'll start climbing the house. Is it yeah?
Let's see. The Yannicka has taken to bed. Eris would
Yeah.
be the only other person that would be up and around. The potential to run into him if he is headed towards the bath would be something that you would intercept on the way down. I leave it to the purview of the two players. You're not to draw an obvious note, but your companion of the last several days, Ezren's absence is noted during this time.
I am still in the garden at this point, apparently.
Right.
I rolled for it to say so.
You probably bump into Yannicka. If you're stumbling around the house and she's headed in to get some sleep, you'd probably bump into her. I mean...
Hey.
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 Are you drunk?
Where'd everybody go?
The sorceress is sleeping, the large one is bathing, and the other one's outside.
Look, I mean what I said the other day about the skull. It's a promise.
Good. I'll hold you to it then.
You know, it's not enough to kill him.
You're right, it's not.
No, it's too easy.
No.
It's gotta mean something. It's gotta hurt. It's gotta. Anyways, Ezra knew things I knew about that.
Was he human? Like, because if he was Ezekon's father, then the math just does not work out.
Well, that's a long story. He was cursed and.
Oh, curses. Yeah, I guess that would do it.
You know, I didn't tell anybody, but something happened between me and Ezra.
Congratulations.
No, not that. Nothing like that.
Right. Okay.
He made me a knight. Yeah. I asked him to because
Well,
I felt like I was losing my mind. So.
what does that feel like for you?
I don't know. What does it look like? He salutes you with this sword, almost stabbed himself in the eye.
Oh no. Right.
How's that?
Yep, that's a sword. No, I meant you felt like you were losing your mind? What do you mean by that?
You were living in the forest for 10 years.
Only
It's no life
10?
for me. Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
10, but no, I just can't stand being in the cities and that.
Yeah,
Everything's
cities
happy.
suck.
Yeah. Well, and there was this girl. She looked like you. Ezekon's one of Ezekon's. She was the one who invited us to the funeral.
Sheila Loon?
Yeah. She
She
got killed.
Don't
So
look alike. It's fine. Okay.
you don't look alike.
Oh,
You're talking about the
Yeah,
ears.
she's like-
you all look alike.
That's what she's like.
Yeah. Well, he's going there. He's drunk.
Yeah, she's not unused to it. She's just kind of like, okay, yeah, no, this is what I was expecting. Just took a while to get here. Okay, yep. Well, Sir Knight, we are united of.
Rhilestilen. You see, that's a funny thing. That's the guy who's they're gonna hang. He's from Rhilestilen.
Hopefully not hang, but yes.
I don't know what they're gonna do to him. You mean the rebel there?
Yeah.
Anyways, I was thinking, if we save him, you think he's gonna help us out, help us find Ezra?
Well, you might.
I still don't understand what happened to him.
Magic stuff, probably. I don't know. It's not my department.
That's right. That's not your department.
No,
And he starts heading for Ifrin's door.
No.
Whoa, whoa.
No.
At this point, Aris will decide to head in because he's kind of been hearing Dusa randomly
Like
go
go
on a
up and
tirade.
down in volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard things about like, how do I look? You know, like as it just kind of the volume's a little off, and
so like at this point, like he'll come in.
I need to talk to Ifrit right now.
Is that her name?
It's important.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
No, not that
Ifrit?
important.
Ifrit?
Okay. I don't know.
Her name was Varan when I met her.
Dusa.
That's nice.
She just changed her name.
Yeah, well.
I want to speak to Varan. I don't know.
Well, Varan's not here right now. You need to wait.
Ah, come on. He tries to get past you.
I will grab him.
Ah, come on. Ah.
You need me to sedate him?
Ah.
I can do that.
How much more sedation?
Ifra!
Dusa.
roll me an awareness check, Prax.
Come on!
Now, Hanged Man's venom does how much more damage against enemies?
22.
Ah, come
Okay.
on.
The dreams start to fade a bit. Wherever you were in your dreams, you thought you heard your name being yelled, but the dream begins to clutch and drag you back into its embrace. We'll mark that down as a failure. Go ahead.
I just look at Eris and I'm like, I have two options. I can silence him or stab him. You pick.
We need magic right now.
Dusa.
We need
Fine.
magic.
I grab Dusa, I look at him very calmly, and I just say, Dusa, listen. And listen very, very carefully. And I backhand him in the face.
Ah, let's go.
And
Okay,
I
no.
reach into my pocket and I pull out the wolf's head medallion. And I believe there was a manticore medallion as well. There was a viper, a wolf's head. Oh, is that? Do you have the manticore? I'm just checking to see. But
There were 4 medallions in total, in groups of 2 tied together. I had a wolf and a dragon, and you had a viper and a dragon. Right? Yeah. So
Correct.
I have the wolf dragon tied together
Okay.
still, untouched.
Yannicka
Okay.
pulls out a
Wow, those
vial.
are pretty.
And goes-
No. In which case, I don't pull out anything because I don't. I pull. Well, no. I'll pull out the dragon medallion of the guy we killed, and I say, Dusa.
Are you one of them?
No, I took this off of one of the others, and
By the great sun.
he killed someone important to me. He killed a fellow witcher, and I have no one else to send him off with. So will you say a few words?
Send
Here,
this guy
Dusa,
off?
take a shot.
I don't even know him.
Well, his name was Ivor, and he was a bastard, and he should have taken a lesson out of your book and learned to wear his fucking helmet, because he had only one eye.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
I hate helmets. Listen,
Yeah, so did he. And I'm gonna try and steer him towards the garden and out of the house.
hmm And I'm like, here, take this shot.
Me. Yeah.
And I offer him like a little glass.
Thank you.
Tip your
Drink it.
waiters.
Okay, dude.
It's wife's
That
tears
reminds me.
potion.
Huh? It's what?
Wife's tears potion.
So I'm not drunk anymore? Is that it?
You're super sober.
Oh my god. Okay.
Touche.
Wow. I'll look at Iris. I say, oh.
And like as you're standing there, you're like, whoa, I just take my little file back. Torque it.
All right. Well, that wore off fast. I better get some more.
Cheating bastard. Hey, if you want more, You ain't drinking alone.
Oh God.
That's great. That's fine by me.
Look,
I'll head over
How
to-
about we go somewhere we're not gonna wake everyone up, considering the sorceress is half fucking dead.
If you
And Wim
wake
will
her
that's
up,
right.
kill you.
I will stab both of you.
Okay. All right. I'll grab another
Hmm.
another bottle. Stronger stuff.
Is
And
Where in this fucking house I can take this retrobate so I can contain him? Aim for it. Help me out. I know you're asleep. but still, put out this fire. It's in your house.
There is a basement you can get to through the kitchen, which is mostly a root cellar.
no, I don't do basements, man. I'm
You-
going in the garden. Let's go in the garden. Let's go on the roof. Let's go. He starts climbing the house.
No,
I grab him.
I'm
And
not
if
responsible
need
for
be,
this from here
I
on.
shoot
I
the
like.
moon.
I look to you and I look to Yannicka for a moment, and I take my knife. And as he's like trying to climb, I'm like, you can fix an Achilles tendon, right?
Oh yeah.
I sorely am tempted to just slice his ankle so he can't climb, but I hold myself in check and will try and
Come on.
drag him down.
You shouldn't climb with your legs like that. Just rest for
Alright.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Usa.
Okay, fine. Let's do the garden.
I'm gonna pull my hair out.
I lead him over.
We never
I
had a
lead him
chance
to
to
my
have a drink, did we?
shitty little fucking dirt grave that I've dug.
And I give Eris a look as he does, saying, "He's on you." Like,
I
This is-
give you a look like I'll kill him if need be, and then we'll deal with it in the morning.
It shows you the bottle. This is the good stuff. We got lucky. Let's
What
go.
the fuck do you know about? I take the bottle. What is this? Good
Man,
stuff.
She's a sorceress. She must have good stuff. It's better than what I had.
If
like a Cade Whitty
you had
stout.
communal wine, don't talk to me about good stuff.
Right,
Sit
you see,
your ass
yeah.
down. Let me tell you about this fucking arsehole that we just buried, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Sir of fucking. Where are you, sir of?
Me?
Hmm.
Rhilestilen. Yeah, I forgot to
Rhilestilen.
tell you about that. Me and Ezren. Yeah, he knighted me. I asked him to knight me because I felt like I was gonna lose it.
Does it make you feel any better?
It did. But,
It's great for a while, isn't it?
well, it's just a bit of discipline. When I used to be a griffin, I had that. A bit more. So, but that's what I've been trying to tell everybody. We gotta. Ezren knew how we had to do this. We gotta find him.
I don't think
He had
finding it
vision.
would be so easy. Yeah, he had vision. The rest of us just have to make do with eyes.
Yeah.
And it ain't the same thing.
No, it's not. We gotta find them. Gotta find them.
Look, I want to find the fucker as much as you do, okay? But, I don't know that that's on the cards, alright? He was a good kid. For a 200-year-old man.
Look,
Give me that bottle.
this is good stuff. I took the strongest stuff this time. This won't take long.
I take it, I drink reluctantly, and
Come on. Yeah.
let's
just try to relax a bit, you know?
for a sir, you really need better tasting.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what that is, but it isn't what the label says.
Mm-hmm. Look, I had a sister once. Did I tell you that?
No, Dusa, you have never told me shit. And in fairness, I've never asked. But consider the only retired history the only retired. The fuck is in this? Anyway, the only Witcher I know who's ever retired piques my interest a mite, so humor me. How the fuck does someone like you have family? And also, as a matter of fact, you know, if you had a sister, she's single?
No, she's dead. But that was a long time ago. Yeah. Well, you know, Novigrad, Redania. That's where I retired. I helped some villagers out with a draconid of all things, a wyvern, and
He
trapped
takes a
him.
mo-
Sorry.
He takes a moment as you say that. He holds up a hand and he will pull his armor, barely able to stretch to one side, and will show you a huge puncture wound that is covered by a tattoo that has a like a piercing wound underneath. And he, wyvern.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got unlucky.
Yeah, I also
Got
almost
really
left the fucking borders.
Yeah, I didn't even get to fight it. I just it got trapped somewhere and I just stabbed it in the head. So it wasn't anything like what you did.
What I did was get stabbed through the shoulder and then attached to the barb on its tail and flown off the edge of a mountain over half a kingdom and almost dropped from I don't know what the fucking height was and killed.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
There's
Yeah,
there's
by the
laughter in
great
Eris's
son, that's
head.
hilarious.
Eris would hear.
Oh man, that sounds like good times. Yeah.
All right.
Well, the sad thing is that I killed a monster, but the people that hired me to do it, you know, I felt sorry for them, so I told them, "Listen, you don't need to pay me." And then they got mad, and they tried to kill me.
What's the best hunt? There wasn't some fucking bastard of a soldier or some official or a nobleman or some hired mob or rabble. What's the best? The best hunt, the real fucking hunt you ever went on.
Yeah, that was Manticore.
You faced a manticore.
A decade before. Yeah, I wasn't alone. I had a girlfriend at the time. She was a mage, and she joined me along with a friend of mine, Trinian. The guy, the name I've been wearing. That's his name. I'm hoping to get him in trouble.
All right.
Yeah. No, that was a great hunt. That was, you know, we followed it through the woods, and then figured out that it was watering at a lake, and yeah, we just hid there, and that was the most beautiful ambush I've ever pulled.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah. What about you?
Shit. Toss up. Either going home to Gesso, dealing with a succubus, or
Ooh, succubus. I like that.
yeah, it was a fucking treat. Best thing I got out of that was the payment, which apparently, according to the fucking people there, was half what they agreed to pay me and a song written in my fucking honor.
Oh wow.
Do you know how many places take a song in my honor as currency? Fuck all.
Wow. I mean, I could have taken that, but I understand if you're down for cash or money. Yeah, I get it.
Some poor bastard of a tavern owner who shacked up with someone, some shithole called the Rosewine Vinted Tavern. It was on the Bandits Road. Fucking nightmare of a place. Hopefully never have to see the fucking place again. That, or dealing with more recent affairs was Well, what I was led to believe would be a fucking werewolf and turned out to be an Ulfadin. Should have known my luck for trying my hand at dealing with lycanthropy out in Skellige, but...
You know what I think, Iris?
Not a fucking clue.
I think you're afraid of heights. And he starts heading for the house again.
Afraid of fucking
Let's
heights.
do this, man. Come on.
I'm gonna make a roll. And I'm gonna base this on a roll to see if I am going along with your fucking stupid idea.
Like, can I try? Is there such a thing as persuasion here?
Can the two least charismatic characters
Yes.
please roll a
Come
We're
charisma?
on.
gonna square off.
Come on, man.
It's like
Peer
the only,
pressure.
My
it's the only
shitty
chance
charisma
we
against
have.
yours.
This is it. Let's have a charisma shit off. Persuasion from Dusa, and I need a
Here we go.
defense. I need a defense. So
I don't know what the
resist.
defense
Oh
is.
man.
Yeah,
slurring my words and not very persuasive.
But listen,
just bumped into a tree as I said it. I'm just like, hey, you're afraid of going up there. Poof. Right in the tree. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
not taking someone's shit is willpower, not empathy. So I'm not bad at it. I will go over to Dusa and like as he like goes to like walk into a tree, I'll grab him and I'll push I'll push him against the tree.
You're gonna push him against.
Yeah,
the
like just push it. Like if you want to resist, like
Hey,
it probably won't take much. But look,
tree.
Oi.
Yeah.
hey.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get some sleep, man.
Yeah,
No.
it's probably. a
Okay,
good
I'm
idea.
going to sleep.
Look,
I'm done. This is it. Let me
JF,
go.
as Dusa says this, he's sinking. We're just gonna say, I'm gonna get some sleep, and then Dusa slides down the tree. I'm just gonna slides down a little further,
Yeah.
and within a moment, Eris Dusa is resting rather poetically, almost like he's leaning against the tree in thought, but he's passed out.
he watches like Aris watches over him for a few moments and sees him start to just snore. And a lot of things go through his head. The first thing I'll be the first to admit is to find in this garden something uncomfortable to smear all over him. Because you remember that, right? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's time.
everything like that.
Yeah, this is your chance.
But as he does so, he thinks about some stuff. He
You can see a bubble just kind of forming on his mouth there. It's kind of stuck on a snore.
he takes a moment. He goes over. He gets his knife that is still stuck in the ground beside the only marker that probably exists of Ivor's grave, and he walks on over to it. What is the equivalent of a knightly salute, Greg?
Depends upon the country of origin for said salute.
Nilfgaardian, definitely.
Oh, well then, if you're going like full royal, this is... we actually had a moment like this in the game where you saw it was taught to Geralt about, it's very theatrical, but again, exactly, it's the one arm up. It's almost like a straight-headed dab, as the arm goes up. But again, there's something, when done correctly, a lot like Nilfgaardian culture is like this. When done correctly, there's nuance to it. And there's a way to make it as sarcastic or as soulful as you wish.
Mm-hmm.
He will take a moment, despite no one being around, and he will give you... He pays Dusa the utmost courtesy of one knight to another, one sir to another, and he bows reverently and respectfully, and in elder speech just quietly says, "Rest seducer, the betrayed, and the lost. And he will take his cloak off and drape it over him. And then he'll head inside and he will do the tour of the house as quietly as a cat to just check that people have made it to some form of relaxation before going to bed.
Well, then I will set, unless somebody stops me. As you would creep up the stairs, you would see that Yannicka is asleep before the door of Ainfra. And because we are the Legion and we are the audience, we can go wherever we wish, and we are very quiet. Unknown to Eris, as we pass through the solid door into the room that has been decorated and prepped specifically for the art of healing, we see the mage in the bed sleeping, a moment of almost wakeful reverie dismissed again, and slumber and dream taken hold. But as Yannicka sleeps on one side of the door, as we creep through to the other side of the door, the large framed Wim is asleep on the inside against the door, or resting, or in a state of quiet. Eris, the house is yours. You are the only one left awake. The bathtub is free. You mentioned something earlier about that.
As much as that is a priority, he is going to be very rude, very nosy, and he wants to walk through and see if he can figure out Ainfra. This is her house. No one is awake. And he doesn't really care much about other people. He hasn't asked much, like, deuces. Right, like, he has a family, like we all have information and stuff, but Eris has asked very few questions that aren't relevant to the task at hand, but he might have to genuinely rely on Ainfra. But there's also... Ainfra's name was hidden to him. He knew she existed. He's heard of her, but never by name. He knows exactly how Ezekon felt about her because he was with her when he was away from Aris, and when he was away from Ainfra, he was with Aris a lot of the time. So he wants to know what this man was to her, and at the same time, strictly Aris being alone, admitting this to himself, he wants to reevaluate Ezekon to see if there is a chance that he really wasn't as honorable as Aris has been almost raised to believe. He was closer to a father than Aris ever had, so he's always had that kind of slight rosy tinted goggles looking at him, but now he has other people to look out for, and as much as he knows that at the end of the day people are trying to get in his head, his enemy is trying to, throw him off. It's a question that's been asked, and it's a question worth answering. Was Ezekon above board? Was he legitimate? Was he really losing his mind in the end? So he's going to go looking for clues in the house.
As you pass through the domicile of Ainfra the Mage, roll me a Witcher training.
I'm going to spend all of my luck.
And +4 for silver, too.
That is a 27.
You are down in the main room, the room that you first entered, the room where you found Deuce's bar now, I guess you could call it. And as you are looking through, just trying to gauge exactly, the art of living, how, why, with whom, you feel tears pull free from your body, and her spectral image is floating in the room beside you. And as you continue your search, you feel her hand lace with yours. She takes your other hand and guides it down to her hips as she locks in the form of a dance, her hair moving as if suspended underwater, her large eyes reflecting your face. This is how they danced. And if you allow her, she'll begin to turn you through the room.
He will move with her and actually isn't thinking about her for a moment, or Ainfra or Ezekon or any of that. He's back in time for a fraction of a moment, remembering what it was like to watch the adults dance. And knowing that one day he is going to grow up to be a noble and get a chance to learn all of this, and actually looking forward to it before everything went wrong. And he actually finally has someone to dance with.
As Tears moves, again drifting, but you've become used to this movement. This, in many ways, it seems normal. And as her hair drifts around, you can see reflected in her eyes, not your face anymore. You can see Ezekon. And as she spins, you can see that the room behind Ezekon is different. The same room, it's decorated different. The seasons have changed. A flash of the window shows snow. And Tears whispers as only she can. To him, she was the one. He never danced with another.
He stops immediately. And he looks over to Tears. He looks around the room for a long moment. And just very quietly to her and her alone, he says, "That's enough. That's their dance." And he will very quietly go to bed.
Tears doesn't follow. She drifts, always aware of where Eris is. There's something about the dance. She loves it. And as she moves, she doesn't dance the same way that they did, but she drifts in a rhythm and still watches it. And though Eris isn't there, she whispers, answering a question that Yannicka posed an hour or so before. It's never the end. Death. And Ezekon of Kreve looks at Tears. No, it's not. And that, my friends, is where we will end this session of The Witcher Family of Wraiths. I was not ready for Drunk Dusa. I fully admit that. I was just absolutely not ready for it. I was completely not ready for it, and I didn't know I missed something I never knew I wasn't ready for. Amazing. Fantastic. I'm going to jump and we're going to do our outros right now, and I'm going to go to Prax, and I'm going to apologize. Prax, you were asleep. We will jump off with you next week, but I had no idea I wasn't ready for Drunk Dusa, and I just wasn't ready.
I'm okay
I
with
wasn't
that.
ready for Drunk Dusa.
I'm okay with that. I will say that something that you drank was probably equivalent to rubbing alcohol and maybe didn't taste so good.
Ah,
Probably.
that's what put him to sleep, I think. Yeah.
Probably.
It tasted good to him though.
Why you were
Yeah.
like, this is good, and I'm like,
Yeah, he's used to that moonshine.
Okay, everybody, I will let you know this too, because this was more of a conversation episode. We are going to carry over all of your healing to next week as well. So all of the healing gifted by Legion will be put to good use or bad use or whatever it is. But Prax, where can we find you?
Oh, hey, I'm good. Hey, y'all, you know me. I'm at Jonathan on Twitter or Praxgoethesmiaphoria, and Billy wants to tell me something that's really important, so I'm going to let Billy tell me something that's very important.
No, I was wondering also, like, the healing is important, but what about that +4 for rolls? The conversational.
I'm thinking about the +4. It was used a couple times here, and
the +4 was used between witches trying to insight other witches, which is just stupid. Like, and also another witcher trying to insight someone with no charisma. Like, none of us used it.
Hey, listen, just because you shot bullets at each other doesn't mean the gun's still loaded.
Okay, if you tap the top, it hasn't popped off of, like, it's like a jar. Like, we haven't twisted it enough to pop the top. Like, it's fine.
What if we leave it up for the people that pitched in for it?
Listen,
let's pump
the brakes. We'll see. No, we'll see. I'll think about it.
Okay.
We'll see. These are very important questions, and I'm glad Billy asked them.
I am too.
But as
Billy
for me,
always asks the important questions.
This is also true. Hey y'all, you know me. I'm at Jonathan on Twitter, Praxgoethesmiaphoria. You see me around Twitch. And tomorrow on my channel, we are going to be continuing our week of Shakespeare at 11 a.m. Eastern with my favorite of the history plays, Henry V. Because, you know, who doesn't love the Battle of Agincourt and very awkward Englishmen trying to flirt with a French girl? Which, yay, that play. And then on tomorrow night, you can find me over on Wandering DM for Dragon Age: The Search for Anders, which has become such a thing that I can't even go watch it. It's hilarious. You will enjoy it. It is hilarious. And then on Friday, we are doing Hamlet on Friday. Certain individual below me will be present for the Hamlet. As will a bunch of other really cool people, troopers coming back, and Tanya, Cypher of Tyr, will be joining us. So she is a wonderful person, and I think you would all enjoy coming to watch that. Friday night over on Wandering DM for Cyberpunk, which is the other R. Tolstoyan game, and I'm not shot yet, so I'm thinking this is a good thing so far. But other than that, check my Twitter because I suppose where I'm going to be and everything that I'm doing, and I can't wait to see you wonderful people next week and find out where the story goes, and then you can all fall into the wonderful story that we're all telling, and I love every minute of it. And I am not in any way, shape, or form, like, Ainfer would not be upset with Eris sneaking around her house. She brought home 3 Witchers. She knew it was going to happen when she did.
There's an acceptable level of sneak when you bring in 3 Witchers, right?
Well, hopefully there are no traps anywhere.
You know,
I caught a Dusa. Dusa's in like a sling hanging from the tree. What's going on? What did I drink?
Still talking. Like, he's been suspended there for 3 hours, but he's still talking.
Right.
To no one.
The first hour was awesome, but the second and the third hour sucked.
The head rush from the blood, you know.
Oh, Billy, my friend, how are you, and where can we find you online?
I'm awesome. I'm feeling awesome. I'm not actually awesome.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, man.
You are.
Man, I love this cast. This cast is fucking dope. Like, I don't know, especially from I feel like I've been in enough games from a GM's perspective for the cast to like take this and run with it and be like deep dive into each other's persons. Like you can't find this shit anywhere. Like this is Magnificent's like realized in actuality. Like, you can't. Also, I'm probably drunk.
So there's that.
Yeah, I've had like a liter of Dark and Stormies
That's
up to
nice.
this point. Yeah, it's great, but
As
like
long
that.
as you had a
First
good
off, that
time.
doesn't mean what I'm saying is wrong,
No.
because that shit's right. The fact that like natural, like even inhibited by chemicals, the recognition of our natural chemistry is fucking exponential. Like, it's off the fucking charts. Like, everybody in this show is just fucking stellar. And you know, Greg's providing the environment. Like, he's building all of this shit and trusting us enough to let all of this awesomeness happen. Like, JF, like, there might be a couple of times in your life people you've never met that you feel comfortable like being silly drunk Dusa in a place like this. Like, that speaks
Yeah, of
volumes
course. Yeah.
to the shit that Greg's helping us do, is providing an awesome safe space where we feel comfortable doing this kind of shit. And then for all you
on
aspiring GMs too, like, ask questions. Like, this is the shit you want out of your cast, out of like storytelling, comfortability, playability, the ebb and the flow. Like, oh man, just ask Greg questions, man. He's putting on a masterclass every motherfucking time. I love this cast. I can't say how much I love Lindy personally enough. Just fucking awesome. You could play anything, anywhere, and anytime, and have it be entertaining, intriguing, and, you know, make me ask questions about what the fuck I'm doing with my life. Jesus, that was like 15 minutes ago you sent this to me. Man, I'm having an awesome time. Legion, thank you so much for everything that you guys do and helping out influence this campaign. You make it harder, which is awesome. You make it more helpful, which is great. Man, if I got tattoos, I would get a tattoo of the Legion on my butthole.
Do it. We'll do it together, brothers.
This is being recorded, Billy. So
Hey,
you don't have to do that.
I'd be in Vegas right now.
Clip
We could
that.
have done it together.
Clip that.
Tia,
that. So we
Tia.
never forget.
Tia, bring a camera.
Gonna make a
The rest of
special
us want to be
episode
there
for that.
virtually.
But like, this is as a role player, as just a player, without the responsibility of being a GM. The situation that we're currently in is what heaven looks like as a player. This is fucking awesome. You can find me on the internet at Bill of the Forest. If you're a person that follows people, cool. If not, fuck all. I don't give a fuck. Man, I don't know. Connect with the people around you. Find a reason. Find an excuse to learn about the stories of the people you're around with all the time. If there's somebody you work with that you connected with that you haven't talked to in like 3 weeks, fucking reach out. Ask them what their parents' names were. Ask them what their favorite cartoon was as a kid. You are now presented with this time in humanity that can connect with somebody and have it pay back dividends. Just fucking reach out to somebody. Call your mom, and that's it. I love y'all. I'm drunk.
Fantastic, Billy. As we drop down to Lindy. Lindy, my friend, where can we find you online?
First drunk Dusa, now drunk Billy. How am I gonna follow that? Like, for reals. That
You've
was
got an antidote for this one.
fucking hell. That was fantastic. That was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I got to put band-aids on everyone because they needed it. Also, I'm glad that we had a little bit of downtime after the action, so Yannicka has a bit of adjustment time with the group before it's just, shit hits the fan again, or, the beggar tick, whatever, it's fine. We've got a cologne line coming. It's gonna be great. Drunk Dusa was definitely my favorite. I adored Drunk Dusa. I thought it was fantastic. Yannicka, however, is almost 220 years old and was just not about your shit. So I was like, just sober up. Here, take this. I don't want to have to stab you, but I will. So that was super wonderful. You all are wonderful and lovely people, and I cannot wait for next week because we'll all have had a nap and band-aids, and it's gonna be a good time in Novigrad. In the meanwhile, you can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, etc. I play and GM a lot of tabletop RPGs. Every Monday and Tuesday on my channel in the evenings, you can find Dungeons and Dragons 5e, some Ravenloft, some Exandria stuff. We have a once-a-month Aliens campaign, which is not this Friday, but next Friday. And one of these 2 upcoming Saturdays is going to be Teenagers from Outer Space. We're just waiting for a little confirmation. So that'll be fun, and Greg's in that, and it's a hoot and a half. If you liked Drunk Dusa, you'll like Teenagers from Outer Space. Yeah, thumbs up endorsement there. It's great. And if you like Witcher, you can find me on Salty Sweet Games' channel this Sunday morning, which is 11 a.m. Eastern to 2.5 hours past that, where we play Witcher, where we're getting invaded by Nilfgaard. So that's fun. I'm sensing a theme going on here right now, but I'm the sorceress in that scenario. Maybe not. Maybe we'll put a pin in that. And then that's it. That's me.
Awesome, my friend. And let's jump over to Josh. Josh, how are you? Where can we find you online?
Yeah, they say water is thicker than blood, and me and Billy are blood. But you know what's thicker than blood? Alcohol, because I am also slightly drunk. Hey, it's been a great episode. That was really difficult because Dusa got drunk, and I don't know if Jeff is actually a little buzzed, but I am. So having to play the sober man versus it was a whole strange dichotomy going on in my head, and I'm like, all of everything he's saying is making sense. Which means I should probably disagree because I'm playing a sober person. What can I say about this cast and crew? Hey, we're back for season 2. It's amazing. Everyone here, genuinely, if I could handpick a cast, almost everyone here everyone here would be in it. I just have to keep putting out more and more and more and more chairs because there's so many great people out there. But these are some of my closest friends, and I love them all very much. I could say endless tirades about how Greg is fucking masterful, how he adapts, how he gives us situations where he's like, hey, here's a situation for you guys to role play in, here's a situation for you guys to feel turmoil in, here's a situation for you to create art in. It's masterful, and he creates amazing individuals and characters that just blow my fucking noodle, and I love you very, very much, Greg. Roleplay with me all the time.com. And as for the rest of the cast, they are just fantastic people. You should definitely follow them online. Even Billy, even though he says don't, because you should, because Billy is a great individual. He's just wonderful. Speaking of Billy, I've got some upcoming projects, but unfortunately I can't talk about them just yet because I'm still putting stuff together. But I have some new exciting news for you, and that news is soon. I will have news for you, and that news will be that there is a show up and coming that I'm working on that has a star-studded crew of amazing star-studded individuals who will be wearing studs. Maybe, I don't know. But it's going to be a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to announcing that. Other than that, you can find me on Friday over on Encounter Roleplay, where I will be shitting myself absolutely sour because terrible things are happening in the world of Seawall Orphanage, where I play myself pretty much in a different period, the different timeline, because we live in the worst timeline at the moment, but I'm not living in the worst timeline. I'm role-playing, and I'm going off and playing in Seawall Orphanage, and somehow living in a Stephen King world is somehow cathartic and better at times. Don't ask me how that happened, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm very excited to get back to my cast and crew. It's DM'd by the amazing Don, who also, Don is someone you should check out because he's doing amazing stuff online. Check out Donathan Fry online because I will always plug him because he is a man who deserves to be plugged. Don't read too much into that. I'm going to throw it over to someone completely different now, probably towards Greg, who can hand it off to someone, and that's going to be great. But one thing I will tell you, if you do win the PDF in chat and you do get the Witcher document and you can look through the PDF and everything like that and be like, wow, this game is amazing. At no point will you find any ruling that helps you deal with Drunk Dusa. It doesn't exist. Greg had to fucking ad-lib all of that. It's Dusa is a scary motherfucker, but he's a great drunk, and that's what you should take away from tonight. I've had too much to drink. Follow me at roleplayers_TV.
Awesome. And finally, last but certainly not least, the man of the happy hour, JF. How are you, my friend, and where can we find you online?
I'm good. I'm great. This was a very very fun episode, for me. But I think we had a good time. I'm double crits on the Twitter, and I felt like Dusa had some stuff to process in this episode, as watched last episode and was looking for a way to do it. And there's always a message in the bottle, so well, not always. I'll take that to heart. So he did it, and it was a good time. I wasn't even thinking we were gonna go there, but we just one thing led to another. It's a thrill of game with everyone. Hearing all that from Billy, that's a dream, literally a dream come true, because literally a year ago I was watching Billy on VOD, dreaming about playing with him, and here I am, and Greg and everybody else. So so if you're thinking of doing that, if you are thinking of doing that, do it. I'm telling you right now, it's the best leap I've made. And you can find me on Fridays with Ezren, aka Foxhole, in the City of Lights and Shadows, Paris, playing a demobilized French soldier with a need for speed. So that's a French Resistance campaign. Thanks everyone.
Fantastic. Awesome. Please, again, follow everybody. I couldn't love these people more. Storytellers extraordinary across the board. They come up with all of this stuff. I feel like, in many times, one of the medium that belongs to the actor is the stage. And, Billy said, to trust people to do, it's such a pleasure and an honor to be able to watch you all take the stage and do this amazing improv that this isn't planned or scripted or anything. How the hell was anyone going to know that we were going to end up in the mage's house? But it did. A garden was found, a funeral was had, things were drunk, baths were taken, a hospital was made, snarky comments flowed. It was fantastic, and it's just it shows the amazing ability it is to tell a tale, and you don't have to be staring at the person to do it or on a physical stage to do it. Billy says it a million times. This medium, it shows promise. And tonight, it showed way more than that. And I couldn't be happier with the incredible Legion's contributions, with the players' contributions, and I would like to say specific thanks to everybody that donated. Basically changed the face of Season 2 in the premiere episode of Season 2. Unreal. I can't believe it. Also, just to say, all the colognes will be on sale at Hawk's character Ananias' shop. Make sure you stop by there. Pre-order. They're going to go flying. In addition to that, just so many things are popping up, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. But tomorrow night, if you would, we're having a charity event here on Tales from the Grim. Several very prominent members of the comic book industry, writers from both DC and Marvel, and a lot of the independents are banding together, and we are going to have a little Marvel RPG here, where several of the writers and artists are going to get together, tell a story, Avengers until the end of the world. And so please show up tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern. Everything that we raise tomorrow is going to go to the comic book shops that can't be open right now. So our imagination stations, our brick and mortar bastions, at least for me when I was a kid growing up, I went there to hide in worlds and things that I still think about and employ in endeavors like these. But they're hurting like so many other people are, and a lot of great folks are going to be here tomorrow night to try to alleviate a little bit of that. If you can show up, that would be fantastic. You don't have to give, just show up and cheer everybody on. It's going to be a really fun show. I don't want to say anything, but I'm Iron Man.
Shit.
Oh yeah, with that,
That's a good cast.
And then join us on Sunday at 1 p.m. where we do our first episode of Capers Off-World, Seraphim Station, and another incredible cast. Trooper, we miss you here. If you miss him as we do, you will find him there at 1 p.m. Join us all there with Heavenly, with DM Shane, with Leonie from Gloss and Gadgets. Everybody's going to be there, and Craig, the developer of Capers, will be there, and we'll be playing some fun games. But everybody just keep your eyes open, tell tales with your friends, go to Roll20, open up an account if you never thought about it before. Billy just did, and he's getting his friends together from high school and telling a fucking fantastic tale. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. But everybody, Legion, we love you so very much. Be here next week when this crew continues to weave a tapestry of tale unlike any I have seen. So, as the campfire goes down, there's only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s. You can always role play. We'll see you next time, friend.